Today's episode is brought to you by HERdacity. HERdacity is a nonprofit inspiring confidence in women to achieve their professional goals. For resources, networking opportunities, and a strong community of women, visit HERdacity.org to learn more.
Welcome to HERdacious, a podcast for audacious women. Hola, fam. Welcome to HERdacious, a podcast for audacious women who are going along their career journey and want a little bit of support. And that's why we're here. My name's Lorelei, and I am the host, and I am pleased you were able to join us today. We are going to be discussing the importance and process of active listening. And joining us for this conversation is an innovative HR professional who is passionate about aiding other professionals develop themselves to reach their full potential. Miss Amanda Cooper. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Lorelei. Thanks for having me here today.
I'm really glad you're able to join us today because active listening seems like such an incredibly important tool for us to get ahead professionally. I think it will really set people apart. So let's start with what active listening really is.
It is fully concentrating on what is being said rather than just passively hearing the message of the speaker.
Ooh, okay.
It means you want to listen with all of your senses. It's one thing to give your full attention to the speaker, but it's also just as important, if not even more important, that the active listener is also seen to be listening.
Tell me a little bit more about what that means. Being seen listening?
Absolutely. So you can sit there and nod and listen to someone, right? But are you fully engaged with the speaker? Are you saying yes back? Are you nodding back? Or are your eyes just glazed over and you're kind of going into the abyss, right?
Right.
So that's one thing that really gets someone that's speaking to you that, oh, okay, I see them. They are actively listening. They're not just having that glazed over look. Now, to that, active listening is a skill. It can be acquired. It can be developed with practice. It can be very difficult to master, and it will. Therefore, you need to take time and practice to develop this.
So, Amanda, why is active listening important on a personal level?
Well, on a personal level, we want to enhance our relationships, right?
Yeah.
We want people to feel comfortable coming to us. We want to build and continue building on our current relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can put yourself in the present moment with your friends and spouse, family members, anyone in your circle, these tactics and the skill set that you're working on to actively listen will help develop and continue to flourish, and you will continue to flourish in those relationships. We want to make sure that we give everyone around us the same attention that they would give us. Bottom line, you really just want to grow your own relationships, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has room for improvement when it comes to relationship building with people in our circle. For me personally, my husband is someone that I really have to flex this muscle that I'm still working on, right?
Okay.
It's that he wants to sit there and wants me to listen actively, 100%, undivided attention, all focused on him, because he knows I can get distracted. And he is really good at reading me. And whenever I am on my phone or putting away something or I interrupt him with something else, right? I'm not perfect. I'm still learning from this and still developing. But it's so great to have someone that's so forgiving to say, hey, time out. Did you hear what I just said?
Ooh, he calls you on it?
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. Every relationship, whether it's in your close circle, right, outside of the workplace or in the workplace, you always have room for improvement.
So what about if we want to improve in our professional lives? How do we change our game at work?
Sure. So active listening is definitely a key component in the workplace. It improves the rate of the workplace performance and fewer misunderstandings, which means less do-over work. And what I mean by that is the first time you hear something in a conversation, right, in a meeting, if you're not actively listening to the speaker and what they are delivering, then you're doing them a disservice, but also yourself, because you're giving extra work to you.
What do you mean?
So what I mean is, if you're not listening to what the speaker is saying,
Like all the specifics.
exactly. If you're not listening to what the speaker is saying, then you're going to interpret it completely different than what the speaker is asking. So you're going to go back to your office and work on what you think you heard, but in reality, you're not getting done what the speaker is asking because you weren't actively listening, whether you were engaging in an email, whether you were, Skyping someone, hey, I'll be out of this meeting soon, or if you're already answering what the speaker is presenting, like, oh, I already have a solution for this. I already know what the problem is. I don't need to really listen to all the details. You're not listening. You're not actively listening in what is being presented to you. So for those people out there that are aware of the DISC assessment,
that is the DISC, DISC assessment.
So for those of you that are a D, which is the dominant, this is a little bit trickier for you, right? When you're in a meeting, for those that are a D tend to have less patience when a speaker comes up to talk about something, and when a speaker comes up and has a project. And when the speaker is speaking, right, Ds have the tendency to say, okay, I just need short, sweet, to the point. Don't need all the details. Just tell me what to do and how we need to get this done. Let's move on. When those that fall in this D category, they need to slow down, be patient, and listen to everything because all those little minor details are really important.
So the dominant type personalities are more likely to skip over important pieces of information because they weren't fully engaging in the action of listening.
Yes, that's correct. They are more likely to move on to the next task at hand, right? Okay, I hear you. This is what I think you're saying. This is what I know I'm going to answer. This is a solution. We're going to move on.
Mm-hmm. So how does active listening change that equation?
It changes the approach by having them flex those muscles that they don't have. So the equation to this is for those that fall in this category of, I'm ready to move on, let's go, I already know the answer, I know the solution. When you're proven wrong and you actually actively listen to the speaker from beginning to end, it's really rewarding. It's really rewarding when you can tell yourself, wow, I'm really glad I listened and I didn't write this off. I'm really glad I paid attention to the details.
And didn't skip ahead.
Exactly. You do not want to skip ahead. It's very rewarding when you're that D-type personality to really focus on those details.
Are there gender differences in how men and women listen to one another?
Absolutely. Realistically, the primary difference between men and women in the communication is women, we communicate with both sides of our brain, very active, involved.
Okay.
Men use the left side of their brain.
The temporal lobe.
Yes, the temporal lobe. They listen with that side of the brain. So with that, you're going to have a little bit of some differences there, right? Whereas sometimes you won't get engaged by men very often when it comes to active listening.
Right, because the right side of the brain is the more creative side. So that's the more flowy, the more artistic side.
Artistic side, there you go, exactly.
And the left side is more like structure, logic.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that does explain some big communication differences between the genders.
Absolutely.
So how does active listening affect that?
So it affects that because it's all about knowing your audience, right? So knowing who you're speaking to and having that reminder in the back of your head saying, okay, how do I need to speak to this person where they're going to hear me and not just passively hear me, right?
Mm-hmm. And through like active listening, you get the cues that people are hearing you.
Yes, absolutely. You get a lot more engagement, right? You get I'm going to flip my phone over and listen to you. I'm going to Control Alt Delete, lock my computer so no, I don't hear these IMs and I don't get, external noises coming in at me. When you get those cues, that means that you have an active listener right in front of you, ready to go.
So how can the act of active listening change our colleagues' perspectives on us as professionals if we start engaging in active listening with them?
That's a great question, Lorelei. So when you listen to understand, you'll have better, healthier, and happier relationships with others. If you're the person in the workplace who gives others a space to communicate fully and openly, coworkers and employees will more likely come to you with new ideas and include you in all those collaborative projects.
Oh, what else?
Well, the active listening will also enhance your workplace relationships. It'll improve group productivity and even boost your own mood.
How does active listening boost our mood?
Believe it or not, it makes you very happy. It reduces stress as you let go of your personal agenda and worries when you truly listen. So when I'm sitting and having a conversation with someone, I 100% give my attention to that person, and it reduces my stress and it lets me let go of my personal agenda and all this external world and life that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So allowing yourself to be completely caught up in what the other is saying really helps remove you from you.
Oh, it's like getting out of your headspace.
Getting out of your headspace. I like it. Yes.
Okay.
It's like looking down at yourself.
Ooh, I guess that could be a good thing.
It also builds confidence.
Oh, hey, love that.
Absolutely. This is my biggest takeaway, Lorelei, and I get the chills when I say this. So call me a cheese ball, whatever you want. If you can patiently expand your perspective by taking in the thoughts and feelings of others, you become more secure in your own values and self.
Wow, that is kind of heavy.
Very.
I will refrain from calling you a cheese ball.
Thank you. That confidence, though, it also creates a positive feedback loop as the speaker becomes more and more open in expressing themselves. Because if you have someone who feels comfortable in expressing themselves, they're always going to come to you. In return, you're going to get that trust. You're going to continue that engagement. You're going to continue to grow and develop relationships in the workplace or at home.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and show some love to our sponsors.
Hi, Barbie here from Moonray, husband and wife indie pop duo. If you enjoy the intro music, we invite you to listen to our debut EP, Honeymoon, streaming now on all platforms. Visit www.moonray-music.com for more.
And we're back practicing active listening with Amanda Cooper. So what's the process of active listening? Like, how does one engage in it in general?
Oh, Lorelei, I've got a lot of good tips for you.
Please.
Get your pen and paper out.
All right.
So the first thing that I want to mention is you want to be approachable. So this happens all the time. I see it all the time. I've actually been that person. But in the workplace, right? You're working at your desk, you're in the middle of something, your creativity juices are flowing, you're really going at it. Someone walks in and it's really hard, but you have to at your best be approachable, right? You have someone who's coming in that needs support, needs help, and wants you to listen to what they have to say. Yes, we could do hey, let's make a meeting, let's talk later, but sometimes that can't happen. I mean, this is real world. So what you can do is be approachable, smile. Hi, how can I help you? What's going on? Have a seat. Tell me what I can do to help you. Approachability, being neutral, and like I said, non-judgmental. That's key. Having an unbiased opinion when the person walks in to speak with you. And then there's also body language. So when people approach you, it's very important to have the body language and be professional, right? You want to have good posture. You want to be looking at them. You want eye contact. You don't want your eyes wandering elsewhere. Yes, looking at the clock is one of the things that we tend to redirect our eyes to. But just keeping in mind that eye contact, facial expressions, your gestures, your head nods, your hands, everything that I'm doing now.
That people can't see.
Yes. Everything that I'm doing now is a good example of showing that you're engaged in someone's conversation and that you are attentive.
What's the next step?
Following is another tactic that kind of goes along with the body language, right? So you want to sit there and say, I see. Right. Tell me more.
Yes.
Anything else?
Mm.
I'd like to hear more about and lay it out there. Engaging in the conversation with that person is half the battle as well.
Okay.
Also, reflecting.
Reflecting.
Yes, reflecting. Briefly stating in your own words what the speaker's thoughts and feelings without evaluation of judgment.
So repeating back in a more succinct way what you thought you heard them say.
Absolutely. Spot on.
So that's the verbal back and forth of active listening.
Yes, pretty much the agreement. I heard that you came to me and said this. I'm repeating and saying this back to you.
Is this right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a check-in?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else after that?
Then after that, you just want to be mindful throughout all of those little tactics or all those steps that silence is really important. Wait for silence. The silence is that indicates the speaker has finished a thought. Because a lot of times there are people that speak really fast and get it all out there. And a lot of times there are people that speak and have to think and gather their thoughts. And so to be respectful, we want to sit and listen and wait for them to have that pause.
Oh, so it's not us sitting in silence. It's waiting for the speaker to be silent.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back over that real quick. You gave me approachability, like being approachable for people, then being mindful of our body language. And then you said following, that's the verbal the yeah, the yes, the verbal like check-ins.
Yes.
And then the reflecting, which is the repeating back a tiny version of what we thought we heard the speaker say. And then silence, waiting for the silence, not our own silence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can't tell you which one's most important. They all have to go together. You can't have one over the other. You can't be, it's an ingredients. You have to have all these ingredients to create something great. And you can't skip out on any of it. Lorelei, to all of those points and tactics I pointed out, I also want to bring awareness to everyone that there's a lot of times that people come in to your life that want to speak with you, whether it's in the workplace or in your home life. They just want to talk. They don't want you to be a solution problem solver.
Oh, that's so important.
So important.
They want to be heard.
Yes, exactly. They want to be heard. There's another point of view that we want to be aware of, right? You have the people that want to come in and talk and want your help and problem solve. Give me feedback. And then you have another group of people that come in that say, I just want to vent. Don't fix. I just want you to be my sounding board.
I feel like people can often get confused on the distinctions, especially in personal relationships. How do we identify which one is which?
I'm so glad you asked, Lorelei. Because one of my favorite questions to ask someone is, would you like me to give you some feedback?
You ask people that question?
I do. I say, would you like me to give you some feedback?
Do you say that to your husband?
Not as often as I should.
Okay, just checking.
But I do try to be considerate of that because a lot of times there are people that don't want feedback. Or I say, oh, would you like me to provide you with a solution? Would you like my opinion? And sometimes I get a yes. What would you do? Or sometimes I get a no, I'm good. And guess what? There are people out there that say, no, I'm good. And it feels so good to not have to problem solve with them because you're just working yourself out.
Wow.
That's why it's very important to listen to everyone at the very end of their conversation with you.
And to reflect back and then maybe do that follow-up question with the, would you like some feedback?
Absolutely, Lorelei. You're doing a great job.
You are such an HR pro. It's crazy. So give me some benefits of utilizing active listening.
So the benefits of active listening, I'm not going to point out which ones are going to help you in the workplace, which ones are going to help you in personal life. It's all going to benefit together. So whenever you're listening to someone, it empties the bucket of the person you're with, right? So for example, if you have a best friend or your spouse or your partner, they're talking to you. It should make you feel really great at the end of the conversation that they have emptied their bucket. One of the most important benefits I take away from active listening is when it empties someone's bucket. I get most relief and happiness when I see someone that has come to me and they have emptied their bucket on things that they want to talk about. It makes me feel as though I've helped them and supported them in a way.
That's a good feeling.
It is a really great feeling at the end of the day. Also, another really important benefit from active listening is it helps the speaker stay on track, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's very important. As much as we want to chime in the middle of a speaker and say, oh, I've been there. That reminds me of a time. Oh, this happened to me too. It's really respectful if you just let them finish with their their thought and then letting them stay on track is the most, that they don't know it, but deep down they're going to feel really good that they got it all out and they were able to stay on track and focused.
Question. So I heard what you were saying initially, and then I immediately responded with oh yeah, because I was very excited and I like understood where you were going with that, and I got excited. Was that inappropriate? Was I being rude?
No, not at all, Lorelei. You can't take out, you don't want to change who you are,
So
right?
was that following?
Yeah.
That was following.
Yes, that was following.
Okay.
You don't want to change who you are too much. You don't want to be this robot of active listening and not be the human. Oh yeah, okay, tell me more. You want to keep a little bit of your own personality, right? I'm not asking everyone to change who they are. Just asking people to be mindful of these kind of bad habits that we show and how we can show better habits.
Nice.
Another benefit is it confirms that you, the listener, has correctly decoded the sender's message, right?
Come again? Decode that message for me.
Decode, absolutely, Lorelei. Like I said earlier about reflecting and what you heard the speaker say, when you speak it back, makes the sender say, wow, they actually heard what I was saying. So it's kind of a test, right? You come to me, you're telling me something, I'm listening. And when I repeat it back to you, you get a sense of, oh my gosh, she was listening. Oh my gosh, I feel so much better. That's exactly what I just said, right? We do that all the time.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. It's like you're reading my mind. It's like, no, I was just actively listening.
Right. We're on the same wavelength.
Exactly. So that should benefit you, right? Being the one on the other end listening. You should deep down feel really accomplished whenever you've done that.
Nice.
And another benefit is that it builds ownership, participation, and commitment. I think that being trustworthy, loyal, and just downright caring for people, that's one of the overall best benefit you can get from this.
Sounds kind of heartwarming.
As it should.
As it should.
As it should.
Do you have any resources for our listeners to check out in regards to learning more about active listening, developing their active listening skills, maybe practicing it with their colleagues and their friends or their partners?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite resources that I have found, because I'm a sucker when it comes to examples and templates, is verywellmind.com. What is active listening?
Okay. We will put a link for that site in our show notes.
And then I also have a book that I'm very fond of. The book is called Active Listening 101, How to Turn Down Your Volume to Turn Up Your Communication Skills by Amelia Hardman.
Turn up for what? I like it. Okay. How many times have you read that book?
Oh, enough to probably need to order another one because I have a lot of notes and a lot of bent pages. And
You write in your books, Amanda?
I do. I take it with me everywhere.
Oh my goodness, you're one of those people.
I am. Lorelei, I can't emphasize enough on how important this skill is. And it can be acquired and developed with practice. It's difficult. It is difficult to master without doubt. Therefore, you have to take time and be patient to develop.
So what I hear you saying is that we all need to develop our active listening muscle. And it will not be easy, but it will be worth it in the end.
100%.
Okay. Well, I love it. And I have loved our conversation. Thank you so much for sharing these tools and tips on active listening. I hope that you listeners are able to incorporate some elements of active listening into your personal and professional lives. And I know that it will help you develop as a person. So to end the episode, I will do as we normally do and share a Femme fact with you to stimulate your brains and to educate you on the history of female badassness. Amanda, do you recall like the Byzantine Empire from history class?
Sure, yeah, vaguely.
Vaguely? Okay. So for those of us who only vaguely recall it, it's like the Eastern Roman Empire that lasted like 1,000 years. They died out 500 years ago-ish. And today I want to share the story of Byzantium's most controversial empress, Theodora-from-the-Brothel. Woo! Kind of like Jenny from the Bronx, but Theodora-from-the-Brothel. So Empress Theodora was wife to Emperor Justinian I and was arguably the most powerful woman in Byzantium history. Theodora received her name after years of working as a sex worker from the age of 15, y'all.
Wow.
Theodora's father, HERdacious, was a bear keeper at a circus in Constantinople, and her mother, whose name is sadly lost to history, was a dancer and an actress. It is said that both her parents' careers in show business led to her humble career beginnings as an actress, a dancer, a mime, and a comedian. Now, it is worth noting that at the time, a career in quote-unquote acting often referred to performing sexual performances on stage. So Theodora's rise to stardom by age 15 would likely be considered child prostitution and or pornography today. According to Byzantium history, Theodora often walked through brothels before performing on stage. And after her performances, she would meet with lovers, host wild parties, and was rumored to have birthed a child out of wedlock. Looking to shake things up around the age of 16, Theodora abandoned her acting career, converted to an early branch of Christianity, and moved to Constantinople, where she met future husband and future emperor Justinian. Attracted to her beauty and intelligence, Justin took Theodora as his concubine. Given her acting background, which at the time was considered dishonorable, Theodora was prohibited from marrying Justinian. So he passed special legislation that would permit their marriage. They ended up marrying in 525 CE, and in 527, Justinian took power, thus being crowned Justinian I, or Justinian the Great. Theodora became Augusta, or Empress. Theodora is known to be one of the first rulers to advocate for women's rights. Most notably, she passed laws restricting the sex trafficking of young girls, changed divorce laws to give women more say in the process, set up houses where sex workers could live peacefully, and banished brothel keepers from all major cities in the empire. In her time serving as Byzantium's empress, Theodora helped pass so many pieces of legislation, most of which were named after her as homage to the changes she made in Byzantine society. Her political efforts were so influential that upon her death, it was recorded that there were little significant legislation passage between the dates of her death and that of Justinian. Theodora's humble beginnings were cause for widespread speculation at the time, but her political astuteness led many to believe that it was she who truly ruled Byzantium and not her husband. So, ladies, if any of your personal or professional goals are looking a little impossible to you right now, just remember that Theodora fought relentlessly, got knocked down a little bit, and still secured the title as one of history's greatest empresses. So get out there and be a queen. You got this. Amanda, I have so appreciated our time today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lorelei. I have loved being here today. Thank you so much.
And thank you all for listening. If you liked our show, please subscribe and please tell a friend. Your recommendations give our show life. Until next time, I'm Lorelei and this is HERdacious, and you will hear me again soon.
Thanks again, Lorelei. It's been so great.
You're so great.